This is how I cut my Siser Aurora the other night when I was trying to cut the letters for Applique. Get a good look at this. It is not good at all, and this was as good as I could get it. So, in order to avoid that, I created the cut file for the vinyl or for fabric or for whatever I want to use with this file. I'm going to show you how I did that. I'm going to let my Cricut cut out my vinyl, and then I will let my embroidery machine do all the rest. Let's get started. Hello everyone, and welcome to Crafting with Delonda. It's me again, Delonda, and thank you so much for joining me today. In today's tutorial, I will be using my Cricut cutting machine along with my Ricoma Marquee 2001 embroidery machine in order to do embroidery with applique. I will be using Siser Aurora. I'm going to take you through the full process step by step, including going into the Chroma software to show you how to create a cut file if you're doing applique and you are not good at cutting like me. At the end of this video, if you find it helpful, please remember to like the video, subscribe to my channel, and turn on the bell for notifications because I do upload new content every single week. Now, without further ado, let's look at all of the materials and dive right in to the Chroma software. The materials I'm using for this tutorial include my Hoop Master Station, Cutaway Stabilizer, Siser Aurora HTV. I'll use a pair of curved scissors, a brown Gildan soft style shirt. The thread that I use is from Candle Thread. I do have a discount code. It is linked below the video. I'm using a green standard grip mat from Cricut. I'm using my Cricut Maker to cut out the Siser Aurora. I'm also using my 8x13 Mighty Hoop. I'll use my HTV Ront Mini 3 heat press as well as my bigger HTV Ront Auto Heat Press 2. And last but certainly not least, I will be using my Ricoma Marquee 2001 20 needle embroidery machine. If you are interested in getting a quote from Ricoma, make sure you click the link below the video and answer the phone if they call, and double check your email to see if they have reached back out to you. Now, without further ado, let's head over to Chroma so that I can show you how to create the cut file in case you have an applique designer you're working with, and then we will go into Cricut Design Space. I am in the Chroma Luxe software, and I'm using the RDE of the Believe in God template. What I'm going to do first is go over here to the sequence panel, and I'm going to select the first set of stitches, which will represent the placement stitch. It is this set right here, this first set. This is considered as artwork. So what I'm going to do right here is select this layer, and I am going to right click and I'm going to click duplicate. And once I click here anywhere on my screen, the duplicate of that set of stitches will be placed on the screen. So I'm going to click right here, and now I have the duplicate. What I'm going to do now is click on the select tool just so I can start to work with the letters. What I would highly suggest you do is make a note of the size of each letter so that once you turn this into a cut file and you bring in the file into Cricut Design Space or Leonardo Design Studio or Silhouette Studio or wherever you're going to cut it, you can be sure that your letters are sized correctly, both individually and as a whole template. So with the G, I would click on it. I will go over here and just double check. The size of this G is 3.08 by 4.93. I'm looking at it right here. When I select the O, I will select both parts of the O. So I will select, let's look at it over here. I would just click on the first one and hold the shift key and select the other part. And the size of this is 2.94 by 4.93. And then I would do the same thing with the D. I would select, the whole D. Let's move this over. Let's see if we can move this over. Like that. All right, now let's try to select just this D. The size of this D is 2.96 by 4.8. Okay, so the D is a little bit off in terms of the size. Now that you have that written down somewhere, the next thing I suggest you do is select the whole file, the whole duplicate right here, and go right click and go to combine. Once I click on combine, now this is equivalent to what is weld in Cricut Design Space. What I would do now is go up here to this top panel and I will look for the fifth icon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that one is called cutter. So what I would do is I will get ready to turn this into a cut file. But once again, we need to double check the size. So let's look at the size of this. The size of the full template is 9.67 by 4.93. I would write that down. 9.67 in width by 4.93 in height. Okay, so I will go over here to cutter, and then I would not make any changes right here. I wouldn't change the seam allowance or the margin or the optimized orientation. I wouldn't change any of this. And the next thing I would do is click apply, and then I would click save, and then I would call this cut file. You can call it whatever you want to call it, and I would give it the size 9.67 by 4.93. And I would save this as an SVG, scalable vector graphics, and I would save it wherever I want to save it. Let's just say I want to save this on my desktop, and I'll click save. And then what I'll do is go over to Cricut Design Space. Let's do that now. I am in Cricut Design Space, and the first thing I'll do is click on upload, and I will upload the file that I just saved on my desktop. So I can go to my desktop and I can go to find that file, and I just called it cut file, and let's go find that file. Now, when I bring the file in, it's going to look like it's invisible. You're not going to be able to see it. That's fine. I'm going to click continue. I still don't see the file, but I know it's there. I can even see the image name right there. I can click upload, and the file will come in, and now I can see it. This is perfectly fine. Now, what I'm going to do is make sure it's the right size. And the size was 9.67 by 4.93. So I'll need to unlock right here and change the width to 9.67 and change the height to 4.93. Okay, like that. And the next thing I'll do is contour. So when I look at this inner part of this D, I don't really need this. And what I want to do is go ahead and contour it out. So I'll just bring this down over here, and I'll go to contour, and I will just remove that inner part of the D like that. Okay, and I'll close this out, and now I will click save, and I want to save this as believe in God cut file 9.67 by 4.93. Okay, and I'll click save, and I will get this all cut out. And let's go ahead and click make. Okay, I'm going to click continue. I'm going to click glitter iron on because Aurora is very thick, and I am going to click right here, just move it down and over. I'll click done, and I will prepare my mat, but I'll do that back on the camera. Okay, I have the Siser Aurora placed on the mat with the pretty side facing down. And I am going to let my Cricut maker cut this out. And I will speed this part up. Okay, I have the mat removed from the machine. And what I'll need to do is weed this. So I will cut away the excess vinyl first, and then I'll weed the letters. Okay, so have a weeding tool, and I'm just going to carefully peel back. So this is what the letters look like, and what I'm actually going to do is cut these away. And I'm going to remove all of this from the backing because I don't need this backing, but I'll do that once it's time to use them. What I'm going to do now is get my shirt hooped with the what I'm going to do now is get my shirt hooped with the Hoop Master Station. I'm going to add stabilizer to the back of the shirt, and then we'll move over to the embroidery machine. I have my Hoop Master Station right here, and I have the bottom of my 8x13 Mighty Hoop. I'm going to just put the bottom here on the station, and I'm going to add my cutaway stabilizer. I have a piece that's big enough to go into the station. I'm just gonna open these bottom flaps, add it here. I don't even really need to open that top part. Now I'm going to grab my shirt. This is a medium Gildan soft style shirt that I purchased locally. And I'm going to add this to the top of the station. Now I will grab the top of the 8x13 Mighty Hoop, and I will add this. Now remember, I'm using a Ricoma Marquee 2001, and the right side of my hoop is always on this side. I can also tell by looking right here that for the bracket that this is my right side. So I'm going to just put this on top, and we'll move over to the embroidery machine. Like that. Now let's move over to the embroidery machine. I have the Believe in God file pulled up on my machine. I'm going to click select hoop, and I'm selecting the 8x13 hoop. I'll click select, yes. The next thing I'm going to do is choose the colors. And what I want to do for my colors is I want to have my placement stitch. I want that to actually be this gold color. And then my next stitch will be my tack down stitch that can also be gold. The word believe, I want that to be white. So that's number 3 for me. And then my satin stitch, I want that to be gold also. So that's number 4. And I do want to keep my machine on automatic manual so that I'll know when to place the letters on top so they can be stitched. And I'll click save. And now let's add the hoop to the machine. Here's my shirt and my hoop. Now I am going to check inside my shirt and make sure I can feel all the way through to make sure that I am not stitching my shirt together. I should be able to stick my hand all the way in there and everything should be good to go. I am going to go ahead and put my machine in embroidery mode. Now that my machine is in embroidery mode, I'll click trace and do trace area. Now I'm going to hold my first presser foot down and do trace design. I do want to move my design up just a little bit. So I'll go back over here to the panel, and up is down and down is up. So if I click down, my design is actually going to move up. So I'm gonna move it up just a little bit. And trace it again just to be on the safe side. I'll click start. Stitch is finished. I can hoop out and get a good look at this and see, you know, what the design looks like. This lets me know where to put the letters. And I'm going to, this is where my vinyl will go, just exactly like this. But what I'm going to do is remove the vinyl from the backing and place it directly on top of those stitches. I am going to do very quick presses just to kind of tack this down. I'm not going to need to press this very much because I just want to hold it in place. So just do it like this. Make sure it's in a good spot. Like that. Now I'll do the O. I'm a little bit concerned about the D because of this inside piece, but hopefully it'll work out just fine. quick presses. Like that. Now let's go back over to the embroidery machine and get this put back on there. And hopefully I didn't mess it up too bad. We shall see. Okay, I'm going to hoop back in and continue with this process. Okay, let's hoop it out and look at it. So hopefully the satin stitch will catch this part over here. This is the only part that I'm concerned about, but for the rest of this, it looks pretty good. It looks great actually. So hopefully it'll catch it. I'm gonna hoop it back in, and now it's time for the satin stitch. It's pretty thick, so it should be fine. That looks good. I'll speed this part up. Okay, it's finished. Let's hoop it out and take a look at it. Looks pretty good if you ask me. I do need to clean it up right here and right here. And I'm also going to give it a final press. I'm going to press this with my HTV Ront Auto Press 2. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and remove the shirt from the hoop. I have my heat press set to 310. I'm going to clean up this right here, these two stitches. And I'm also going to use my little mini press and just press the back and see if I can cut this little piece off right here. Because that one little piece, make sure you can see that. This one little piece right here is bothering me. Okay, so I have cleaned up my shirt and this is how it looks. So now I'm going to press it. Give it one good final press. And I do want to add parchment paper on top. And this is the final shirt, and I love, love, love the way this turned out. Hopefully you found this helpful. If you did, please remember to like the video, subscribe to my channel, and turn on the bell for notifications because I do upload new content every single week. Thank you so much for joining me today, and thanks for watching. Bye.